Psychologists have found that people with extremely high IQs tend to share this one really surprising ability. And get this, it has absolutely nothing to do with being a math whiz or having a perfect memory. In fact, it's a trait so quiet, most of us never even notice it.
So we're going to challenge some of the usual ideas about what it really means to be intelligent. It turns out that one of the biggest signs of a truly powerful mind doesn't make a sound. Okay, so what is it? What's this one defining trait, this quiet ability that seems to set these folks apart from everyone else? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly profound.
Now, what's so interesting here is the contrast between what we think smart looks like, being super quick-witted, remembering everything, and what the research actually points to. The real answer, the one that really counts, is the pause.
And that right there is the whole key. This isn't about showing off how smart you are. It's a totally internal thing, a moment of silence that happens inside your head before you act. It's super subtle, but honestly, it changes everything.
So let's put a proper name on this idea. Psychologists call this ability cognitive inhibition. And once you really get what that means, it's kind of like unlocking a whole different kind of intelligence.
So, what does that actually mean in plain English? Just think of it like a mental brake pedal. When your emotions are trying to floor it, this is your ability to hit the brakes. It's the power to consciously say, hold on, to that first automatic gut reaction.
And this breaks it down perfectly. So first, something happens, right? An emotional trigger. But instead of an instant reaction, step 2 kicks in. A mental gap is created. That's the crucial pause. And only after that pause do you get to step 3, where a deliberate, thought-out action is chosen.
This is the fundamental flip. See, most of us are wired to react first and then, maybe, think about the consequences later. Highly intelligent people have mastered the art of reversing that. They create a little bit of space between the feeling and the action. And that space, that's where all the control is.
So it's actually going on in the brain that makes this pause even possible. Well, it all comes down to the science of self-regulation.
Psychologists link this ability directly to the brain's executive control system. You can think of this as the CEO of your brain. It's in charge of all the high-level stuff like planning and, you guessed it, managing our impulses. So basically, a stronger mental CEO gives you a much better ability to hit that pause button.
So what does this actually feel like from the inside? Well, when they're under pressure, they don't get tunnel vision. Instead, they do this thing where they mentally zoom out. They see the bigger picture, they can weigh the consequences of their actions, and only then do they decide how to respond. Now, it's really important to remember that this is not our brain's default setting. Our brains evolved for survival, to react instantly to a tiger in the bushes, not to think wisely about a snarky comment online. So slowing down and creating that pause, that takes real conscious mental energy.
But because this whole process is so quiet and internal, it gets misunderstood a lot. What people see on the outside is often the complete opposite of what's happening on the inside. This is such a great example. Someone says something insulting. The automatic gut reaction is to get defensive, to fight back, But the person with high cognitive inhibition, they just pause. They don't feel that immediate, desperate need to rush in and protect their ego. Or, hey, think about a crisis. The common reaction is to panic, right? But their instinct is totally different. They pause. They observe what's actually going on, process the info, and then they choose a deliberate, effective response.
And this right here just lays out the whole misunderstanding perfectly. Their calm is seen as coldness, but it's really confidence. Their silence is mistaken for weakness when it's actually a sign of massive cognitive strength. And what looks like they just don't care is actually powerful emotional control. I really want to drive this point home. The restraint we're talking about isn't a lack of emotion. It's not about being some unfeeling robot. It is a clear, powerful sign of a well-regulated, highly capable mind at work.
All right, so what does all of this mean for you?
If any of this started to feel familiar, the pause, staying calm under pressure, the habit of thinking before you react, well, it could be a sign that your mind is working at a much higher level than you've been giving yourself credit for.
Because when it comes down to it, real effective intelligence isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's not about having quick, flashy answers. It's quiet. It's deliberate. It's controlled. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. In your own life, in that next stressful meeting,
that difficult conversation, or even just a moment of frustration? Where are you going to use the pause?